Your reading session for this week. So this week called Titus Rules, okay? It's by Dick King-Smith. You might recognise that author. He is, of course, the author of The Hodgehog, and he is the master of animal adventures. Now, there's a picture on the front of an animal. What do you think this book might be about? So today I'd like you to read chapters 1 and 2, and then I've got some questions for you to answer. Pause me now while you have a read, and then come back when you're ready for your questions. Okay, so number 1, what breed of dog is Titus? Number 2, why does Prince Philip call the Queen Madge? Why do you think the Queen gave Titus an extra biscuit? How do you think the first footman feels about the dogs? Why? How does Titus's mum tell him to ask the Queen for a custard cream? And what is Titus's mum's registered name? Okay, pause me now while you have a go at these, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, hopefully you've all had a go at those. So Titus is a Pembrokeshire corgi, or just a corgi. And Prince Philip calls the Queen Madge because it's his nickname for her, and it is short for Majesty. So the Queen gave Titus an extra biscuit because she didn't want him to feel bad for tripping Philip over, and it was her way of telling him not to worry as it wasn't his fault. So anything along those lines would have been a great answer. So how do we think the footman feels about the dogs, and why? So he dislikes the dogs, doesn't he? He calls them greedy little fatties and wishes they lived in the Far East where they eat dogs, which basically tells us that he is not a fan. Prissy told Titus to sit quite silently in front of the Queen and gaze up into her eyes with a pleading look in order to ask for a custard cream. And Titus's mum's registered name is Lady Priscilla of Windsor, and the Queen calls her Prissy. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed the story. We will continue with it tomorrow.
Good morning, Class 3 and Class 4 on Monday, the 6th of July. And we are going to be looking at some writing now. And today we're going to be having a go at writing a character profile and making sure that we're using descriptive language. So pause now if you haven't already got the date in your book, and you can write down your LO. Good morning, Class 3 and Class 4 on Monday, the 6th. So you've started reading Dick King-Smith's one of his other books today. And it's all about the Queen and her corgis, okay? So you've been reading Titus Rules. And what I really liked about it is there's some of the description that King-Smith used to describe and paint that picture for the reader of Prince Philip. So I think that today would be great if you guys could have a go at writing a character description. So I've got here some of the pictures that are in the book, but also some of the language that I thought, or some of the bits of text which I thought were really useful to help paint that picture. So I'll just read this bit out again. All the dogs were of the same breed. All of them looked up as the door of the room was opened by a tallish man with a strong nose and a receding hair and rather bristly eyebrows, who strode in with a military gait that suggested he might once have been a soldier, or perhaps a sailor. The bristly eyebrows came together in a frown. So within that chunk of text there, and then we've got our two pictures over to the side, you may notice some useful adjectives, but also I really like the use of some nouns that the author has done, but also how the author has talked about particular parts of Prince Philip's face, but also how he moved in the room. So that kind of shows more about his personality and his sort of almost his style. Okay, so have a little think about which words stand out to you for being descriptive within that text. So these are some of the words that stood out to me. You may have picked some other words within that text. That's absolutely fine. But I thought the use of the adjectives tallish, strong, receding, bristly were really effective. And the nouns that those adjectives described were man, nose, hair, eyebrows. And then I really like the use of the word strode. So he walked, that's a verb telling us how he walked across the room. Now, if you're not sure what the word receding means, that means kind of going backwards. So if he's got receding hair, that means he's kind of starting to go bald at the front of his hair, so his hairline isn't quite where it normally is. He's probably lost some of his hair, so he's starting to go a bit bold. I really like the bristly eyebrows, especially where it says on that second part, the bristly eyebrows came together in a frown. They're talking about the military gait, so who strode in with a military gait. That doesn't mean like a gate that you can open and close. It means the gait is talking about your posture and how you hold and carry yourself. So the author's implying there, or trying to tell the reader, or give the reader a clue, that he was once in the military, so whether he was a soldier or perhaps a sailor. So he still walks and carries himself like somebody who has had that training would do so. So it's a way of kind of telling the reader, giving them a bit of a clue that he has been in the military, which without actually saying he used to be a soldier or he used to be a sailor. It gives you a bit of a clue. But also, if you know much about Prince Philip, then you'll know about his military background. It also helps give us a bit of an idea, perhaps, of his personality. So once people have been in the military, they tend to be, they are used to following certain routines and rules. So that might tell us that he likes things being a certain way, perhaps, which helps as well, just really give us a better idea of his personality and a better idea of how he feels about the Queen's precious corgis. So I really love some of the language used there. You may have thought, kind of pulled out some other words, that's fine. But what I want you to do is think about some of those words that the authors used there and see if you could use them perhaps in a different sort of sentence. But also think about if there's any other words that you think would have been able to describe him more effectively. So your task then is to write a character profile for Prince Philip. So a character profile needs to tell us a range of things about a character. So think about what we know about Prince Philip. What does he look like? Where does he live? What does he like or not like? And what's his personality like? So these are some main questions to get you thinking about your character profile. But on the next slide, I'll show you some examples of how you could set it out, and it might give you a better idea of how you can do this. Okay, so here's a range of ways that you could set out your character profile in your book. Now remember, you do not have to print anything off at all. All of these activities and tasks are designed for you to do in your book yourself. You should be able to do this completely by yourself, completely independently. If you want to draw any lines to set it out, like the images you can see here, that's absolutely fine. You just use a ruler and do it yourself. Okay, it should be something that you do on your own. And this is linking to the reading that you've done earlier today. So use that to help you. So at the top here, we've got one where in the middle it says character profile, name, and if you wanted to, you could draw your own little picture there of Prince Philip. And then at the top it says, what does he look like? And there you could just write some descriptive sentences about what he looks like. What does he like to do? So his hobby and favourite things. Now you might know you might have had an idea of some of those from the text and what we know he might like and might not like. But if you want to make some up, that's absolutely fine, as long as it's descriptive, or what you think, or if you want to do your own research on Prince Philip and see if you can find out something about him. The problems he will face. So think about in this story, what sort of problems do you think he might face in this story? And then the character's personality. So you can have a think about what we know about his personality. But again, if you'd like to do your own research on Prince Philip, then you can do that as well. So you can set it out like that with a little picture of him in the middle. At the bottom here, where it says character profile, and there's lots of sort of boxes, again, it's using the name of the character, a picture of the character, and then it's getting you to think about 3 different ideas. So what does your character look like? Use adjectives to describe, which is what we've just talked about. Where does your character live? So think about where he lives with the Queen. And what does your character do? And then at the top right here with the little red pin in the blue box, character name, appearance, personality, things they do and things they think. So there's a range of ways that you can do this. But yes, it needs to be in your book if you want to conduct any extra research into Prince Philip. If you feel you've not got enough information about him from the story, that's fine. But yeah, have fun with it and have a go. I look forward to seeing them. See you later.
Good morning, class 3. Today we're going to have a look at exploring hundreds. Now, we have looked at this already. However, from feedback from kids in school and a few people that have been at home, I know that we've been struggling quite a bit, I think, without or just being able to do it independently, looking at multiplying and dividing. Certainly from people back in school, we reflected on it together and noticed that we could perhaps do with just really going over place value and understanding the representations of digits in different places. So kind of just going back and just refreshing ourselves with the basics of maths, really. So this week we're going to be looking at place value again, and to begin with we're going to have a go at exploring hundreds. Okay. Okay, so here you can see I've got some different values. I've got 100 at the top, I've got a 10, and I've got a 1. So we refer to those either as ones or units. I normally use units. Now underneath you can see 3 different representations. Now we're focusing on using hundreds today, but I've got the tens and the units there as well, just so that we remember whereabouts they go. So in my first box over here, have a look at how many hundreds I've got. Now, one of these blocks is worth 100. That's because there are 100 units, 100 ones all together. I've got 10, lots of 10 all stuck together. Okay, so what number is this representing? How many hundreds have I got? 200. So let me write that here. I've got 200 here. Okay, now have a look at the next box. How many hundreds am I representing there? I've got 1, 2, 300. So that's 300, 0 tens and 0 units, 300. Then on the last one, you can see I've got 0 units, I've got 0 tens, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundreds. Okay. Now have a little think, how many tens would I need to make 100? Have a little think. Okay, this is one of the facts that we need to know and are really useful for all other parts of our learning in maths. 10 tens make 100. Okay, so here then is your activities for today. It's just 9 questions, and of course there are pictures, but you just have to write the answers in your book if you're doing this at home. And this is focusing purely on hundreds, okay? So have a little look and have a go, and the answers I will show for you on the next page. Okay, so for your answers then, I'm just going to write them on as I go through. So for number 1, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balloons. Sorry, there's 6 packets of balloons, and there's 100 in each. That's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 balloons. Okay, so 600. Balloons. Sorry, it said to write your answer in numerals and words. So for that first one is 600, and then to write it in words, it'd be 600. Okay. Number 2, how many bricks are there? So again, all you've got to do is count it in hundreds. That's start from the top: 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. So there are 700 balloons, and then you would write it in words 700. Here it's asking you, for number 3, it's asking you to circle 800 pins. So if you weren't sure, you could count to 100, 200, 300. Oh, that's what I'm doing. That's not the best way to do it. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. So there are 10 hundreds there all together. and we've just got to circle 8 of them. Okay. Number 4, what numbers are represented? So we've got 100 there, 200. Then B, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of hundreds, so that is 500. Number 5, Jack makes this number. I have made 1000. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he has got 10 lots of hundreds there. So is he correct? Yes, he is. But then it says, yes, he is. Oh my goodness. Yes, he's correct. But write the number a different way. Okay, so if I was to write 10 here, okay, and we've got 10 hundreds, what number is that? It is also 1,000. 10 tens make 100, and 10 hundreds make 1,000. Number 6, complete the number track. So all you've got to do there is continue the patterns. We've got 200, 300, the next one would be 400 and 500. It's a bit too small for me to write it on, I'm afraid, and I can't type it on. 400, 500, then we've got 600, and then it would be 700, then 800. Now here, it starts at 900, and I can see that those numbers are getting smaller. So next it would be 800, then 700, 600, and 500, and then 400. Number 7, Rosie starts from 0 and counts up in hundreds. Circle the numbers that she says. She starts from 0 and she's counting up in hundreds. So will she come across 500? Yes. Will she come across 50? Well, 50 isn't a multiple of 100, so no. Will she come across 900? Yes. Oh, I didn't mean to circle 50, sorry. Will she come across 70? No. Will she come across 1,000? Yes. That's 10 hundreds. Will she come across 100? Yeah. Will she come across 99? Nope. And will she come across 10? No. Number 8, Amir needs 700 counters. There are 100 counters in each bag. Amir has 400 counters. How many more bags of counters does he need? So if he's got 400, but he needs 700, there's 100 in each bag. You've just got to find the difference. So how many hundreds between 400 and 700? I'm going to put 400 in my head. Sorry guys, that's Jax, he needs the toilet. If I put 400 in my head and count up in hundreds, how many would it be until I get to 700? So that's 400, 500, 600, 700. That is 3 more bags. Wait a minute, Jax. Sorry guys. So that's 3 more bags of counters because there's 100 in each. And number 9 is 100 represented here? And it says to talk about it with your partner, but just have a go at answering that. So I can see that we've got 10s here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 tens there, and we know that 10 tens equals 100. So yes, 100 is represented here. Well done if you did well on that. Tomorrow we are going to continue this by then looking at tens and units as well. Well done, guys.
Good morning, class 3. We are on Tuesday, the 7th of July, and today we're going to be exploring numbers to 1,000.